Hey loves, it's Brid, and in this video I'm talking about Jupiter quincunx or inconjunct to Jupiter in Synastry. So the quincunx aspect is this very awkward aspect where we're actually even less similar than like the opposition aspect or the square aspect, but it's a more underlying tension. It's not as overt as those other tense aspects. So when we have Jupiter, quincunx Jupiter in Synastry, there can be belief differences that maybe we don't notice right away. It could be even like a moral, belief difference, or like a religious belief difference, or the way that we experience faith and hope and joy. Jupiter is a lot about our joy as well, and what really, lights us up. Jupiter's the big, expansive energy, and harmonious aspects to Jupiter and Synastry can really do a lot to lighten the vibe and, make people get along that maybe you'd be shocked at some of the other like crazy Pluto or Saturn squares going on in the Synastry. But if there's Jupiter aspects that are harmonious or powerful, like conjunctions, um, they can get along quite well, the two people. Now, with this quincunx, it does show that we're coming from very different energies with Jupiter. And it depends on the signs of Jupiter too, but Jupiter in itself is not always going to be as curious about someone who has a very different belief system or a very different energy when it comes to these things. Like, our Jupiter energy is what we believe and what we hold near and dear. It's not necessarily something where we're super open minded, like, with Uranus or something. So when we have this quincunx, we can be kind of judgy with each other, thinking, well, the way that you think and the way that you experience optimism and faith, well, that's kind of stupid. But, maybe there is still like some curiosity about how this weird different person uses their Jupiter energy, but there can be kind of bad vibes with this quincunx, and it's a little bit more above ground, or more like, it's not as underlying as with other planets quincunx. When it's Jupiter, which is the big expansive energy, it's a little bit like more obvious when we have this stressful aspect, at least in my experience, that we really do believe some different things. And, we might start off intrigued by the person and this, weird energy that they have. But then as time goes on, we can be pretty judgmental of them. And actually, if they go against our morals in a big way, we might not enjoy this connection at all. Now, there could be other things that'll really lessen this, right? Like, you could have Jupiter conjunct to something else like Sun or Moon or Venus or something, and then this is just going to be really minor. But it does show, belief differences, and differences too in how we grow and how we expand in life. Differences in, Jupiter, Saturn in general is kind of like how we handle, like money, as well, as far as like, do we hold on to it or do we let it go easily? So there could be differences here with Jupiter's quincunx in our ideas about money. One person could be very frugal and very conservative financially, and then the other person could be very spendy. And it's not so much about like money as like in Venus sense, but like it's about like the inflow and outflow of energy. Like, do we feel like there's more where that came from, or do we feel like we need to hold on tight because actually, like, we just don't believe in abundance like that? Like, Jupiter is also a relationship to abundance, and there's Jupiters like Jupiter and fire that are super extravagant, and like, there's always more where that came from. There's always more money, more love. They're very risk takers, right? And then there's Jupiter and like water or earth that would just be like appalled at that, and like just seriously like think that those people are the stupidest people ever. And it's just differences in belief. It's differences in, that hope and faith, like for the future, right? So it can be differences in like optimism and pessimism as well. And one person really thinking that their way is right and the other is wrong. And it's like they're just differences, right? So if you understand astrology, this quincunx can be less annoying. And if you have other, good synastry aspects going on, this can be more minor, but it will just show up as like we're going to have some belief differences. We're going to have some differences, like I've said, but with extravagance or frugality, like, and also differences in like our hope for the future, like what makes us feel hopeful, what makes us feel alive and like we're moving forward in life in the best way possible. And we're gonna have different gifts. Jupiter can also represent like our success in life and how we really attain that when we're really like in our fortunate energy. And they're going to go about that very differently. And it's just like different paths, different lifestyles, different, it can be different upbringings as well with Jupiter's quincunx, like the beliefs that they were instilled in childhood, probably from the father, from the masculine side of the family, are very different. And so now, as we live our lives, we're coming from a very different place here with our Jupiters, and it's hard to understand each other. And this is all going on. Like I said, it is an underlying tension. It is more overt though than other quincunxes, but it can be quite annoying. It can be like speaking with someone who they just don't get you. They don't get you in your bigness, in your fullness. Maybe they understand like small talk. Maybe you have great Mercury aspects and you can talk about small talk, but when it comes to the deep meaningful things, you're talking to someone who doesn't speak the same language as you. Like you're speaking English, they're speaking Chinese, and you don't have a translator, and then you get frustrated and you think, well, what is the point of this? I mean, some people just get these things and some people don't, right? And like I said, it's not going to be as extreme as that with other, more favorable aspects, but it can be a little bit annoying. Favorable Jupiter aspects are quite nice to have because it just shows that, like, yeah, like I said, like those things are in alignment. It's easy. It's like you don't have to explain yourself. Now, with this one, you're going to have to explain yourself and why you believe that, and then explain, why you think it's right. And like the other person is still probably not going to always understand. So, yeah, it can be challenging. Now, some Jupiters are more open minded than others, and some Jupiters might actually, like mutable Jupiters, might actually like the differences here and be curious and be like, open to learning from this very odd person. And then others are just gonna have their nose up in the air and be like, this person just isn't on the same vibe at all. Like they just don't get it, right? They just don't get it. And it could be differences too, like I said, optimism, pessimism, right? Like and like yeah, it's an interesting one for sure. You could also be different in the way you are socially too, like introvert, extrovert. Like there could be a difference there. And what really lights you up, what makes you feel joyful, just might not be understood to this person. And if you've got other really good contacts, that can be, you just have your different joys, and that's okay. So yeah, I'd love to know your experience of this quincunx. If you've had it in Synastry, what has it been like for you? Yeah, I'd love to know. Thank you for your requests, you guys. Keep those requests coming, and we'll talk soon. Okay, bye.